everyone. It is Wellness Week Live. I am DJ Anthony. That's Madison, California. I'm in New Jersey. Look at hey, oh. Okay, so today, calorie counting and menopause, like menopause, but menopause, because men have their little, we all have our segues into older adulthood yet. Okay, so Magnus, first one, calorie counting. So I was at a restaurant, Maggiano's actually. Do they have Maggiano's in California? Maggiano's is an Italian chain restaurant.
I think we do.
Yeah, so it's like Olive Garden.
Yes, yeah, no, I mean, like let's compare. Yeah, like potato, similar, different names, actually, a little bit of different menus.
They may be the same parent company. I don't know, but anyways, so so look, I was eating and I just noticed, oh wow, like every item on the menu has a calorie count. Like this has 800 calories, 1,000 calories. Now it's been going on for a long time at all different restaurants, fast food, everything, which is that's good. But I thought to myself, the calorie count on a menu, that's a good idea. However, it only really tells half the story, because if I eat something and I say, oh, I'm not going to eat that because it's 800 calories, well, it could be a good 800 calories or a bad 800 calories. So to do calorie counting alone for anybody looking to lose weight or get in shape, I think it's a little bit of a misguidedness, because again, 800 calories of fish and vegetables is not the same thing as 800 calories of, fried foods and hamburgers and
cheesecake.
Right. So, because you could have something that's 100 calories, but it can be absolutely devastating and shit, versus something that's 500 calories. It's healthy for you. So, like a salmon yeah, I just think, to count calories only is very, very misguided. I think you have to understand, empty calorie versus full calorie. What are you eating though? Because that's like saying, go ahead, Magnus, take it away.
Can I drop some knowledge bombs here?
Yeah, man, do it.
So first off, when it comes to it, the calorie count to start out with, like when they actually do it, perform it, and say this is how much we can, that could be up to 20% wrong in both directions, either too much or too little, right? So, but let's say that it's you're actually eating more than we think, right? So say that you said 800 calories. Okay, 20% off. Now we're up to 960 calories, right? Then on top of that, the portion is okay to be up to around 20 to 30% off as well. So if we say that we have a heavy-handed chef, he's giving us more food than the actual portion is supposed to be. Okay, we're adding another 20% of top of that. So we have 960, and then we're adding even more. That's almost 200 more calories on top of that again. So all of a sudden, our 800 calorie meal is closer to 1,100, 1,250, like, right. So it's completely off. It just gives you ballpark numbers. So it's not accurate. If you need to be accurate, you basically need to break things down and weight them individually. Okay. How much chicken do we have in this salad? How much green lettuce do we have it? How much dressing do we have it? Which people don't do, right? Right. So you're right. Like just counting calories like that is not gonna give you that much like actual feedback. The thing that like when calorie counting actually counts is, for instance, if you're preparing for a bodybuilding show, or if you're going on a severe like strict diet when everything has to be dialed in. I do like calorie counting to start out with, because it's a really, really good learning experience. You actually figure out like, wow, does this dressing contain that much?
Right. It's a good baseline, basically.
Yeah. Or like, wow, actually drinking like this beer, like it's a lot of calories in this beer, So that actually educates you on calorie rich food, like nutrient dense food, not that nutrient dense rich food. So that's why I like it. For people that kind of learn that and have a good understanding of it, I do not count calories at all.
Right, neither
It's
do I.
because I've learned over time on what my body needs, basically how to manipulate it without like counting calories. Yeah, I can weight some of my food, if I'm trying to make a change. But
Yeah,
other than that, I kind of like get it really, really good understanding on, okay, I need to eat this, I need to add that, I need to remove a little bit of this, and so on, to like manipulating if I
right.
want to
Yeah,
like add muscles, cut fat, and so on. And that's something that you also trying to help clients with when they want to do a specific change, right? But it's important to learn that like counting the calories, how to learn how to manipulate that, have an understanding, could be helpful for sure.
yeah, I guess as a basic, you're right. The okay, so with that, if you have nothing else that we want to add to this, let's move on to men going through our changes. Women go through their menopause, like whatever, in their 40s or yeah, in their 40s. And I thought to myself, wait a second, men, we go through changes too, but we're not allowed to talk about it, or we don't even realize it, but we do too. And so menopause is when women, their hormones change. But I said to myself, wait a second, men's hormones change also in their 40s or even in our 30s. Matter of fact, everybody's
Changed our whole life. It
well,
changed our whole life.
but if you think about it, Magnus, everybody's hormones are changing from when you're a 1 year old to 100. Our hormones are always changing. So, and men
Yes.
too. But so when your hormones at 10 years old is not the same thing when you're 17 years old, not the same thing when you're 27 years old, not the same thing when you're 37 years old, and et cetera, et cetera. But again, I think only women are allowed to have these changes or talk about it. But us men, here we go again. Shut up. But I can tell you, and I know, and I think the big change for us men comes in our probably in our 40s, late 30s to 40s, and that is, we're the big, you're getting older, you're getting weaker, you're not getting stronger, you're not 25 anymore, and so we don't really want to talk about that. But I think it's a little bit more apparent now with guys doing TRT, testosterone
Yep.
replacement therapy, and things like that. And so it's not just a woman's thing anymore. And women's issue is important, and so is the men issue now. And then us men go through this. So we're losing muscle mass, we're losing testosterone, we're getting, even myself, like I've noticed I'm getting the man boobs, and dude, Magnus, everybody who watches shows know I'm a gym rat now. Like, and I work out even when I wasn't a gym rat. I'm always exercising, working out. And I'm like, damn, I can only imagine what it would be if I was some desk jockey, not a disc jockey, but if I was just some dude that worked at a desk all day, I probably would have D cups. Like, so like, but my point is, women go through this struggle too, but I think men do too. Look in the mirror. I mean, I'm gray, dude. It's like I don't.
Well, look at me. I don't have any hair
Whoa,
anymore.
right? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so, but I think it's. I don't know about you, Magnus, but I have a little bit of a struggle with this. That, and I'm in pretty damn good shape, dude. I'm in better shape than most 25-year-olds, but still, like, I'm not in the shape I was when I was 25, and I kind of struggle with that. I struggle with I'm getting
Anthony,
older.
yeah.
I don't.
That's just something that you have to accept. You cannot really start to look back at what you used to have, because you are not, it's not an even playing field, right? Things have changed. It's completely different. And that's something, to be honest, that's something that I've been thinking of like more and more. It's like it's harder to gain muscle, it's harder to keep things up. But I'm also trying to do my best, but have an understanding. It's like, well, I might not be able to achieve what I once was, because I'm not even close to on like hormones and things like that. And also, I think for men, it has a little bit more of a creeping effect over, like you said, basically our whole life, right? Women's are more an abrupt and a big change at once. First, they go through like a pretty big change throughout like a single month, like when like they can actually have offspring,
Right.
and then all of a sudden it just shuts down, and there's a lot of changes going on, and
Right.
and on
More extreme and acute for a woman, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I think it's like, and they have to manipulate a couple of like more hormones than men usually have as well. So it's they have a little bit more, how should I phrase it? They have a little bit more detective work to do together with uh, their doctor to kind of figure it out. But I do think this is a field when we see a lot of things are happening, both for men and female, right? So doctors are becoming better and understanding the different drugs, how to manipulate and give hormones in different ways. So and find the right dosage and what works for each individual. So I'm very excited on how things are moving forward in this field.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, even myself, like I've noticed, and I'm sure I speak for probably all men in their late 40s, 50s, 30s. Well, like because of the hormone change in men too, and in myself, I've turned
Yeah.
50, year 50. I also realized, like, I noticed that I'm not, what's the right word? You know, I would have to assume, I didn't take a blood test, but I would assume my testosterone rate has fallen since I've been, since I was 20, right?
Yep.
It's assume that that's natural. But with that, what does that mean? So I've seen like myself, like I'm more cautious, I'm more worried about things. When I was, when we're 20, right? We're invincible. Like you can walk through a wall. Now I see myself like, and I'm a little bit more like, well, let me think about this. And I guess it is normal, but it's kind of sad in a way, but it's good in a way too, to be more, thoughtful and more intellectual about things. But it's kind of sad.
But let's look at it. So first of all, when you're in your 20s, your brain has not fully developed to start out with. Our brains are still development. Men, we are a little bit slower than women. They figure things out. Their brain develop a little bit faster, and they become actually more understanding and a little bit smarter. They're not that much of like the same risk takers as men. But remember, looking back at it, when we were hunter gatherers, men during that age, in your 20s or teenagers, 20s, going into your 30s, maybe, those were the people that hunt, right? Those were the ones that were taking risks against like attacking animals, trying to get food, right? It's good that our brain halves were not developed. So we're risk takers. Once you get by that age, you have to be a little bit smarter to survive, right?
Yeah,
so our brain needs to develop, and it's the same thing. That's why it happens quicker with women, because they're the ones that are responsible for an offspring. Just being pregnant for 9 months and carrying a baby, that's a huge risk. And then on, like, humans are one of the species that take care of their offspring the longest too. So that investment long term too. So they have to be smarter too at an earlier age to, like, because they can get offspring, and like it's a risk, like back when we didn't have the fancy Western medicine that we have today, like having a child could be a lot of health issues and risk like your life. So like just looking at it like genetically and how we have evolved over time, I mean, we're still like young and doing crazy things, right? But with age, we become wiser and our brains are more developed, and we need to understand that, like, we have to be smarter, like not taking risks.
Yeah, there's
the
pros
same
and
way
cons.
we do.
Yeah. I'm not saying there's only downside. There's upside, right? Like you said, you're wiser, you understand, you're more empathetic. But I also think, for me at least, I start to think about my mortality more, because I'm like, oh my God,
yes,
you see your friends getting sick and dying around you, family dies, and it's like,
yes.
oh shit, I'm getting closer and closer to that line too. And it's sad in a way. Again, I try not to think about it too much, but my point is, these are menopause things, and menopause. Women go through their thing, guys go through their thing in a different way. So it's not just the women. And I think, again, guys got to realize this, and that's why we're talking about it.
Also, let's look, like, we were talking about testosterone levels. Like, it's sad to see that, like, basically the last 100 years, basically, especially like the last 70 years, we have seen a drastic decrease in testosterone level in men. And it's if it continues this way, we as men are not going to be able to have like create offspring with a woman because our T levels are. So we actually have to start looking into how to get fertilized and actually create offspring. Using the offspring because it's such a fun like scientific word instead of having babies, right?
Right. I'm sure
So
scientists already have figured this all out. Anyway.
yeah, no, so yeah, of course. I mean, of course we already know that, but it's kind of sad that and it kind of points in a direction that like if we can't have offspring naturally, there's definitely something going wrong, and hopefully we can change that before it happens. Yeah. But again, this pivots back to the things that we usually start talking about. It's about your health and your lifestyle. Like you can definitely increase testosterone level by doing certain things.
Or exercise, eating right.
Yes, sleeping, taking care of stress levels, and so on. So I would suggest, especially we're talking about men that are definitely under 35, you should not really like, unless you're like have a specific sickness that causes your natural hormone levels to completely plummet, then you should start looking at it. Otherwise, I think we need to push it to later on in life as long as possible and really work on increasing our testosterone levels naturally. Like you said, being out in the sun, exercising, both cardio and lifting weights, right? Doing manly shit. I like we need to be out. Like I'm like, yes, like I'm not talking about like we're not talking about equality here. Like, of course, equality is super important between the sex. I'm just like you need to go out sometimes, just be out in nature and
well, like Magnus, that's why I think there's a drop in testosterone countrywide because also
worldwide,
because again, most of the world now works behind a desk. We're not hunter gatherers. We're not building testosterone up because of wrestling down wild animals. And also, I think the food in the water and the air is poisoned with you name the chemical and pesticide that also throws off hormone levels. So there's a lot going on that fucks shit up. But you're right. It is what it is, and we have to. I don't know.
At this point in time, we know that the pharmaceutical industry, the food industry, a lot of like rules and regulation. I'm not talking about conspiracy and things like that. The only thing that I'm trying to tell you is that the only person that is responsible for your own health and can change it is you yourself. And if you have kids, you're responsible for your kids as well, right? So.
Oh, lost you there, Magnus. Lost you there.
Sorry about that. That's what I want to point out is that is more important than anything. Like we have to take responsibility for ourselves first and all. Like you do not want to be sick, weak, afraid, things like that. You want to be in control of the people you're hanging out with, your thoughts, your physical and mental health, and so on. We need to start taking care of it on an individual basis. Once we kind of have that under control, then we can start like moving up and start changing things. Right?
Yeah, man. We're all in the struggle, all of us, and for sure. Well said, Magnus. I have nothing else to say about menopause. Do you?
No, I'm so glad that you brought it up, and I think like it comes back to the thing. We need to be able to discuss this way more open, and I think with testosterone therapy, it has definitely swung in the right direction. We're starting to open up. We're starting to talk about it. It is an issue, and we need to deal with it for sure. Because it's causing a huge problem that we don't want to like go into.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I agree, and I'm glad we're talking about it, and hopefully that'll start the ball rolling for people who are listening to us. And that's that. By the way, as you know, Magnus, we crossed over the 200 subscriber mark, so we're kicking ass. So we're over 200 now. And
awesome.
that's a big accomplishment because, again, health and wellness channels are typically not the most popular types of channels on YouTube. The top 50 or top 100 most popular types of channels on YouTube have everything to do with, in some shape, form, fashion, or way, with entertainment, singing, and funny videos, and that's great. But health and wellness, and I can see why, because how many people really want to talk about their own health and wellness. But that's the reason why I'm saying that is so we have a harder slog to get up our numbers than if we just did some funny, stupid, silly stuff, cat videos on this channel. We would probably have a bazillion subscribers. So our subscriber number 200 is a real achievement, considering we do talk about very serious stuff on this channel. So anyways, thank you, subscribers.
Yeah, and hopefully we also, you guys can actually see that we're somewhat lighthearted as well. We like to talk, like Anthony. He's the DJ. I'm the rapper. That was DJ Jesse Jeff and the Fresh Prince old album. Anyway, what I wanted to say with that, I want to thank everybody that is actually following us. Please, if you can, spread our word. Like, talk to relatives, talk to friends about it. And again, if you have any specific questions or topics that you want us to bring up, let us know. And of course, you are anonymous. Unless you want to say something, we're not going to say who you are, who said it. We just bring it up like it's either Anthony or I that comes up with it. Mostly it's Anthony that comes up with all these awesome topics.
Thank you.
But yeah, help us reach more people, because we think that our message, hopefully that you agree upon it, it's important and that you learning something from our conversations.
Yep, roger that, dude. With that, Magnus, thank you as always. Thank you, everyone, for tuning back in with more great content coming up. I'm signing us off. Thank you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye.